is my new King Ranch F150. One of the first things on my list of things to do is do a wireless charger. If you could believe it, these new trucks can park themselves. They even give you a back massage, but they don't have a wireless charger. So first things first is down there in the kick panel, you're going to see that's where we're going to target. That's our body control module, and that's where we're going to find our accessory power for the wireless charger. And I'm going to set my goals to put it in center console, because that's my primary focus of the location I want it to be in. So to pull out this here kick panel, I'm just going to pull this thing up first, and I'm going to remove this weather stripping and pop that panel out. These are some of the tools that I choose. Usually I try to use plastic removal tools, panel puller, stuff like that before I resort to using these more abrasive types of tools. For obvious reasons, you don't want to destroy an interior on a truck like this. Now when I've gone ahead and chose the power, which I'm going to pull off this fuse panel over here, there's actually two. There's a big one under the hood and there's one in here in the passenger kick panel, which is where I'm going to target. So instead of messing with all these harnesses back in here, I'm just going to leave them be. I'm going to do a fuse tap on the front side and grab my power. You want to be real careful. This is super important, probably one of the most important parts of this video if you're going to watch the whole thing. So what I did is I've gone ahead, I've orientated this in a position that it looks like over here. I'm taking my power probe. You can see on the left side it's green. That means that there's no power on there. On the right side, you got 12 volts. So I'm going to tap on the left side after the fuse, not before the fuse. Super important. And you got a ground right there, or you can just make your own, but factory grounds, in my opinion, always better. And there's a nice one right there. What I've done here is, I was going to go with my radio fuse, the 20 amp, but instead this one here shows no power when the pusher start is off. I'm going to go over there, cut it on. I got that nice clean 12 volts, and this fuse here, this fuse right here does not control anything with the car's control, the CAN bus system, or any kind of interfaces, module, stuff like that. It's just a straight up fuse that's used for a Raptor, which is not what this is. This here is a King Ranch. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to tap off of that one there for my accessory power. That's the third one up on the left hand side on my 19 F150. Give you all the, that's it right there. That's 35, right? 1, 2, 3, 35, 35. So when you orientate the fuse panel like it is there in a truck, right there, third one up on the left side, that's my fuse. Just to clarify it, 35, it's a 5 amp selectable drive mode, uplift, upfitter switches, whatever the hell that is for a Raptor. I don't have a Raptor. So 35 it is. That's my power source. So the truck is in the off position. I just got in. I'm going to show you this. Here is my, just to show you, this here is the plug on the other end of my lead down here. It's a fused end for the wireless charger. Black is my ground, my red is my power source, which I just tapped off of at the fuse panel. You can see that that's showing nothing green. When I hit the push to start button, the ignition's on, you can see it's red. So it's a true accessory. When the key's on, it's on. When it's off, it's off, and that's what I want. I don't want any of that delay or any of that door nonsense or delay or whatever the hell. I just want some straight up power like a normal vehicle. That's getting hard to do these days in these cars, man. Simple things are hard. Ah! So here is my factory ground. I'm going to go onto that. I always suggest going on a factory ground. If you have one, don't even make it a decision. Just go for it. You'll never find a better place to go. In there you find a half a jillion wires. I'm just going to find one that looks like a good suspect. There's one. If you have a wire separator, these things are pretty cool. If you don't, you can just rough it. That just takes it, separates it, and exposes the copper, which is what you want. Get on that nice meaty wire. That fuzz out of here. I've done is just poke the hole in there. And that'll give me an opportunity to stick my ground wire through it. The way I do all my connections, if you know me, I don't change. There's only one way to do a wire connection as far as I'm concerned. So I strip back about an inch, inch and a quarter, inch and a half, whatever that looks like there. Go into the ground lead, close the hole, and just wrap it like a fishing knot. Just like that. Once you got that, just tape it, insulate it, then insulate the whole ground harness so it looks just like it did before you got in there and messed with it. There you go, here's a close-up of it. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to put some wire loom on here, take this, put them together, and I'm going to run them right down the loom over to where I got to get my power to, my center console area, which is where I'm going to grab all my other accessories and do all my fun adding on, which is the fun part. This is the fun part. When I finally get to go over there and start adding my toys, that's the fun part. So it's coming soon. So after you got your fuse, power lead, and ground ready to go, and I got this harness ready to roll out here, you don't want to just tuck it under the rug and be cheesy about it. You want to take that up in here. You'll see right there. I don't know if you can see any of this stuff, but there's these push tabs. Real easy, man, real easy. Just get yourself a panel puller like this, go in there, take the one out there, take the other one out there, drop this down, run it with existing harness, insulate it, zip tie it, and just keep on moving over to where you got to get to. That way it'll last forever and you don't have to worry about the thing dropping in your lap or looking all hideous. You don't want that stuff. So run it clean. That's the right way to do things. So the next trick here is I'm going to have to get into this whole area because, like I said, I want to put my wireless charger right in that spot. Right in there. Kind of want to make it look as factory as humanly possible. So the way it works is in here, there's two screws, one on this side, one on the other. You're going to take this, you lift it up, and then you pull it straight out because there's two clips in there. You don't want to mess with it. You don't want to put a tool on it. You just want to grab it, pull it back. That's the way this whole piece comes up. Once you're in there, that exposes everything you need to start doing what you got to do. These are the two screws that are in this area, the two T20s. I need one of these Torx bits to take that right out of there. No big deal. When you're pulling this thing up, let me give you a little tip. I took the plastic tool and I put my panel puller underneath it and I pry it up. So that way I didn't apply any direct pressure from this hard metal tool. And once it goes, you'll hear this thing start to make like a cracking sound. Once you do, you got it. And you can see it's all nice and loose. Now you just have to pull it straight back and this piece will come out. So a little gentle pressure like I explained. You see the tabs right there that click in? That's all it is. And then this whole thing, as loose as a goose, just put your shifter back and take it and you can remove it. So what you want to do is take your car, put it in neutral. My car's a push to start, so I hit that, turned off the ignition, and then you're going to want to go over there, put on your parking brake so that way it says that the parking brake is on. That will give you the time and ability to remove this safely and work with that annoying ding-dong in the background, which we just love that. Next thing you want to do in the center console area is you're going to want to take your T20. There's two screws in here you're going to need to remove. And there's going to be some pressure clips here on the side. You see there's one, there's two, there's three. Just take this tool, gently apply a little pressure. Up you go. Now this whole piece is free. Again, just remove this, pull this back. That will give you the opportunity to take these two screws out and you can get this whole assembly all out free and clear so you can work without obstruction. Forgive me about that noise in the background, but there ain't a damn thing I could do about it. So once I took this piece, I pulled it out and shifted it over a little bit. Two screws on this guy will allow you to completely remove this piece, which is great. I gotta tell you all, man, I have used tools on this job I have not used maybe ever. It's funny. This is a 7mm open-end wrench. I mean, you need that to get this thing out. This is the final straw, and that was like the last thing I needed, of course, to get this piece up so I can finally get my pad and my wireless charger in there. So this is a test, a man's test to see if you have the tool for the job. You need a 7mm open-end wrench, and then you can finally get onto this little guy. Whew, thank goodness for tools. Now we have come to a critical part of this installation process. Now, I got these 4 screws out. Now, it goes up, but only yet so far. Here's the reason why. You have to take this top piece off, the side, pull this dash out, then you have to take the 2 screws out and pull this thing off and out of here, just so you can freely lift this whole thing up and out of here, just so that way you can trim a trim plate and put the new wireless charger in the place of this. Now, I can do that, or I can leave my beautiful King Ranch alone, and I can do it a different way, and here's my plan. Over here, there's this fiberglass. I can take a Dremel, and I can simply notch this piece out, lift this thing up enough where I can get a drill through the side, run my power lead in. I can mock up my new wireless charger pad, sit it in, plug it in, install it, and wrap this thing up. I'm thinking that's the way I'm going to go. But at this point, I leave it up to your discretion. It's your vehicle, your installation. You can do it however you want to do it. This is my job. This is the way I'm choosing to do it. Alright, so here is my wireless charger that I'm using. The 3 induction rings, a nice little charger here. So this here is the part from the truck, right? There's the induction charger, my template, and this here is the plastic unit, which I can make my panel with, and of course I have my new rubber mat, which is what I will do. I'm going to take this, trim it out, cut it, and I'm going to make an exact duplicate of this here. And I may or may not put the factory piece back on top. We'll see how it performs. If it performs as well as I think it will, I'll probably just leave this thing back on top, because this, you know, not going to be a lot of loss if I do or if I don't do it either way. But that's going to be the next part of this installation. So before I put this thing in there and button it all up, I figured let me just test it, right? So when I put it on there, it doesn't make the beep like it's supposed to go. And I said, So I checked the troubleshooting, and I looked on the back. I said, what the hell do these LEDs stand for? Which I couldn't find any information on. Do you think I would know as a Brandmotion dealer? They give me something, right? Well, whatever, that's another story. Well, anyway, I says, let me just try to take off this cheap Chinese case and throw the phone on there. And look at what happens. It works. So these things, whatever the hell the Chinaman's putting in these things, the charger no like of this. So if you have one of these, be careful. And I think it might not even be just this. I think it might be this thing here, which is what I use to hold the phone up onto there. I think this thing might be screwing it up. I'm not sure. I'm going to tinker with that, but for your own installation, if you get frustrated it's not working, the next step I did is I went ahead and I cut this area out with my Dremel, and I made a small hole at the very bottom right. You probably can't see it, but it's a little bottom right area of this tray, so that way I can slide the plug in through the bottom and out through the other side. I'm going to show you the template that I built on the workbench inside. So you'll see right here, this is the wireless charger, and I have these foam pads which will set it up so that way it'll lay out all correctly. And I put this on top. I will push the charger up and it'll stay on with the 2-sided tape, and I'll probably hot glue it just for good measure. And then this is going to sit back into the truck, and over here on the right side, like I showed you, on the right side is where the plug is. So it should be right over here. There you are. So that'll go boop boop right out my hole, and everything will go nice. That'll sit on top. You wouldn't even know this was even installed. While I'm going to run my power to the wireless charger, it's a good time for me to grab power for some other stuff like the dash cam I'm going to install next. So I'm going to show you real quick how I do that. If you're interested in doing a dash camera or some other accessory installation, watch that video. And basically how I want to do it is really easy. I just take these little T-taps, they tap onto the wire like that, and they create a female point of connection, which allows you to take insulated male, slide it on there, and get power instantly. Pretty cool, right? So So I'm going to do that. I'm going to run some leads out over to the driver's side, so that way in my next video, when I do the dash cam, I'll already have my 12 volts. Although this doesn't relate to doing the wireless charger, I ran this little metal hook dealy through the center console. I'll show you on either side, and it'll allow me to pull wire and get it from the passenger over to the driver's side. I'll show you how easy it can be done. So now, here's the driver's side, and down here, just took this one little 7mm out, pulled this thing out, ran that through, and you can see this is the other side, and I just got my tape connected onto this zip wire. Go over to the other side real quick. Here we are. Take this guy, a little finesse, and take your time, pull it nice and slow. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing. So here I am now in the garage. This here is the wireless charger. Plug goes on this side. I just took this, I laid out all my mats, so that way you'll have a nice soft cushion between that and the factory cover. Hot glued it on there so that way it'll all stay nice and close and tight. Won't make any squeaks and noises, and that way it's up as high as possible to the rubber mat, so that way it'll give you the maximum charge without any kind of, you know, disruption. I don't want to have any space. Even if it's just 1/4 of an inch, it could make a difference on the phone, so I want to make sure it works perfectly. So that's how that's going to look. That's the top side. Like I said, the plug's going to go on that side. And this here is going to be the bottom. I'll scrape off some of that goo, of course. It's just yuck. And that's pretty much how it's going to lay in there. I'm just going to install it. So here's in the truck, parts in there. Just going to take my factory cover now. Put that in there like that. Ta-da! Who would even know that thing's even in there, right? I can't even tell. So we'll take the ignition, put that on, find my phone. Alright, throw it in there. There you go. What's that say, my friends? You know what it says. It says charge. Yeah. Quality, boys. Quality.